Hey everyone, welcome to another session of the FLOURISH Study Guide. We're happy that you're with us here. We're going to jump into session 6 today, but before we do, we're going to recap a little bit and look back at session 5. There is so much meat in session 5. It tackles, I'm just going to even kind of recap some things from session 5 in the form of questions. Like everyone has asked one of these questions before. For example, where do you go for advice? Where do you go for wisdom? Is it media? Is it culture? Music? Who are the icons in your life that you're listening to?
Right.
YouTube. YouTube. That is like the future of information gathering for Generation Z. Right. Those who come after millennials, that's where they go. YouTube. It's YouTube for everything. Right. That's a question from this chapter. How about this question? What do you do when you have a great mentor in your life and they're no longer with you? They go on. They move. Then where do you depend on for your wisdom, for your information, for your knowledge? That's in this chapter. Finally, and this is kind of the big idea from session 5, how do you come to know the will of God? And how do you learn to submit to the will of God? Well, you got to have practice submitting to other human beings. That's all in chapter 7, session 7 in the FLOURISH Study Guide. So again, if you're listening online, you've yet to get a copy, please email us. Go to watermarkoc.com and we'll get you a copy. If you're going through it as a group, you really got to press into those questions. Those are like lifetime questions that will really serve you all the days of your life. So have a look at session 5. Like I said, today we're covering session 6, which is on fellowship. Wonderful chapter, Bucky, that you covered in the weekend message. If you want to listen, you can go online. You can go to the Facebook page and find that it was streaming live there if you prefer video. It's also on the iTunes store for podcasts, so you can check it out and listen to the audio. But bring us into session 6, Bucky, of what we really need to know about fellowship.
Yeah, session 6 covers this amazing Christian term we call fellowship, and it's about deep, committed relationships, really, and it's about sharing the deep things of God. I mean, there's a lot of places where we can go have social gatherings, we can meet with people around hobbies or interests, but uniquely Christian fellowship is sharing the deep things of God together. And the most important thing is His authentic love. Every day in our community, we see people out there chasing after stuff, and it feels like they feel the pressure to become something that they're not.
Right.
And what Christian fellowship uniquely does is it allows us to be free to become something that we are, what God created us to be. I mean, your kids are dressing up in costumes, and everybody's going to go out and get candy this weekend and knock on the doors and do the trick-or-treating, and they do it for fun. But as adults, we dress up in very sophisticated wardrobe and garbs to get something that's powerful to us. We feel like if we don't put on a perfect face and show people that we're successful, we can perform well, we're perfect in all that we do, we won't gain acceptance or love. And that creates a lot of hiding, a lot of loneliness, a lot of shame and dysfunction in our lives.
Right.
And God wants us to free us of that. He wants us to give us a safe place, which we call fellowship, authentic fellowship, so we can sort of take off those masks, take off the costumes, stop pretending and playing image management, and allow our true selves to come out, to be known, fully loved. And that's where the healing grace of God, right, His acceptance, can touch those hurts and those pains and those dark places that we've covered up and allow that to come into the light. That's where God does His best work in healing us and bringing us into this place where we can understand and become who we were created to become.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful definition of the difference between community and fellowship. What do we do in the church world? What's it supposed to be like? And we come into this deal with such expectation and maybe baggage and previous church harm or just disappointment in our relationships, which there's a barrier. That kind of lends itself to those costumes and those personas that we are so busy upkeeping that we have to learn to trust again. But that's so integral if we're going to get to that good work that God wants to do.
Amen.
Yeah, I love, if you go to 44, look at 44 in the middle of the page in your books. We're getting towards this definition of community. I love what it says here, that using the metaphor of living water from John 4, that which is new life, which is flourishing, is not just personal water bottles. Instead, it's through the Spirit. He expects His water like a river to flow through us into the lives of others. We're talking about flourishing relationships. We're talking about new life. It's like we talked about in the gospel session. We get this gift of grace, which is felt and it's played out in terms of fellowship, in terms of this Christian community. Yeah. And just like grace is not this personal salvation project, it's meant to be a conduit for in and through our lives, into the lives of others. Because no man is an island, like it says. No person came to faith in isolation. No one works out their new faith alone. If you're a new believer, or you're a career Christian, maybe on the one side of the spectrum, you're kind of still ducking out. You're still hiding out in the church pews. Or you're new to church and you're still hesitant to take that plunge. You got to encourage folks. And let us encourage you that you'll have a ceiling. There'll be a natural ceiling that you just can't get through unless you allow yourself to be vulnerable, like you're saying, and trust again through true Christian fellowship. So this is a great challenge. What do you think, Bucky, everyone needs to walk away with as they wind down this session?
I think a couple of things is, one is to just pray for courage. I know it takes courage. It took courage for me as a young Christian, thinking that I had to be perfect or pretend that I have something or not, to actually take off that mask in front of a safe group of people and allow that living water to begin to flow into my life. It was their acceptance, it was their grace, it was their showing Christ's love to me in a face-to-face relationship. Right. And it takes courage, so praying for courage, finding a group of safe people, whether that's a Watermark or another church, getting involved with a group of authentic Christian people that are willing to be vulnerable with you, and that allows you to be vulnerable with them. And the third thing is be encouraged, because as I drank that living water from that fellowship, God showed me that He had given me uniqueness, right? There's unique gifts and talents that He's placed in each one of us. And as we take off that mask, as we become a part of a fellowship, a family, even in 1 Corinthians 12, Paul says we're a part of a body, like an organic body. We actually have something to bring the community. It's not just the community serving us, but we actually have something to pour living water in the community through our spiritual gifts. God has given everybody in the body a gift, and it's important for the growth and the maturity of all. You have a gift, Ben has a gift. His gift is a gift of encouragement. Ben is always encouraging me with his gifts. My gift many times is teaching through wisdom. And so when we share those gifts authentically, God uses those things to grow us up and transform us into the people He wants us to be.
It's awesome. It's a beautiful picture of what church can be. That's what we're talking about in flourishing, in Flourish, and this whole thing. That's why it can be more than a study guide. It can be more than a book. We're laying out here. We feel like this whole process was laying out God's idea, His high view, His high picture of what church can be, what church fellowship can be. So we hope you find that challenge and that encouragement as you go through this. And we look forward to being with you as we work into session 7.
Yeah, be free to be who God created you to be. Enjoy the fellowship this week. God bless you guys.
Thanks, guys.